Hello and welcome to EBC Learning Studio. Today we have with us Gandharv Jain, partner of Finvox Analytics. Welcome Gandharv to EBC Learning.
Hello Pradyuman, how are you?
I'm good.
Hi.
So let's start from beginning. You did your graduation from Delhi University in Commerce. At what time did you have in your mind after your high school that you wanted to become a chartered accountant? Was that planned from the beginning, or once you took Commerce as your graduation in Delhi University, you decided to become a chartered accountant?
So Pradyuman, very interesting question. So I actually decided very early. My father was a lawyer and my elder sister she's about 4 years elder to me, and she was pursuing CA, right? So I decided very early at the age of about like maybe 15 years old when I was, or 14, 15 years old, that I would want to become a chartered accountant. Because my father was in a taxation practice. He was a lawyer and he was practicing income tax, sales tax and all. And I had seen him working and I knew what are the limitations that he was facing. And I knew that after becoming a chartered accountant, there would be many avenues which will open up for me. And my interest was not exactly into taxation. My interest was always into transactions and valuations and M&A and all of that. But I thought that this will be the best and the easier route to get into this domain, the finance domain. So basically, I knew from the beginning that I wanted to do something in finance. And when you look at finance as an option, there are only like 2-3 options which are available. Now I think with passage of time there are more options. But I'm talking about somewhere in 2000, 2002. At that point in time,
No fintech.
Yeah, there was no fintech, there was no social media, there was no WhatsApp, Facebook, all of that was not there. So at that point in time, the options were limited. So out of the options that I had, maybe I had either I could have gone into MBA, or I would have become a lawyer, or I would have become a CA. So my interest was always in numbers. I used to like dealing with numbers. Right. So I thought that CA will be the best option, and that's how I pursued my chartered accountancy.
Right. So as we all know, right, a critical aspect for being or doing a business is to know 3 cardinal things. One is you should know your business. Second, the numbers, and third, the law. Yeah. So you easily picked one leg of essentially doing business. But coming more on your education, you have a very longish CV when it comes to other professional degrees, diplomas, and talk us more about your education from abroad and what led to doing some professional studies abroad.
Yeah, so see, as a young kid, anybody is passionate about migrating outside India and then settling there and doing work there. So similarly, I had the same passion where I wanted to work in US. I had some of my relatives and colleagues who told me that there are a lot of opportunities in America. So, and again, the best route to get into America was to do CPA, which is your certified public accountant. You become a certified public accountant from US, and then you can do a job there, like much like CA. Like you are a CA here, you have a CPA degree there.
Right.
So, luckily for me, what happened was that when I had to give my CA exams, they got preponed by 6 months. So my attempt was originally due in November 2007, but the ICAI gave an option to our batch that you can give the exam 6 months earlier. So I gave exams in May 2007, and still my internship was still pending. So I could not take membership, or I could not work in a professional organization till the next 1 year after becoming CA. So I thought that was the right time for me to utilize that time and get into a professional, another educational qualification which I wanted to do, and that is how CPA USA happened. So I went to US and I gave my exams there, and I qualified as a certified public accountant for US. So that is how I took my CPA US degree, and then the registered valuer happened by choice. And it was also an obligation, or you can say a requirement. So in 2015, we started Finvox Analytics, and we started this much like a boutique investment bank or valuation advisory firm. And in 2016, the IBBI came up with this insolvency and bankruptcy code, and they had set up the institutes for basically they were called registered valuer organizations, where you had to then do the courses and get the registered valuers examination conducted and done. So because we wanted to be the pioneer in this field, which we are also, we are doing a lot of work in valuation field. Both me and my partner Amrish, we thought that it will be good if we do the first batch itself. So we did the first batch and we became the registered valuers. So that is how the registered valuer happened.
Okay. So amongst all this, what happened to your big American dream?
Yeah, so see, still we are working a lot for the American clients. So that dream somehow has been, I can say, fulfilled. But yeah, obviously there were family pressures. So when I did my CPA and I also got job opportunities, but then my family wanted me to stay back in India. So I then joined Ernst & Young in 2007 and the transaction advisory practice instead of going to America and working there.
Right.
And
So
in America, again, I was not getting the field which I wanted to do. So there I was getting the field of accounting. So I got an offer from a firm which was taking me into tax and accounting field. I wanted to get into more of investment banking, valuation, transaction advisory, which luckily I got an offer from Ernst & Young India.
Right.
So that is how I joined them.
So talk us through from your journey for working for Big Fours and then setting up your own practice, and chronologically, professionally, how did you working at Big Four to Finvox Analytics? Just take us through that professional journey.
Sure. So see, what happened was that obviously, as I'm telling you, that my interest areas always lied in numbers, in markets, in stock markets, in finance. Even I will tell you a story. So when I did my 12th and I had like 2 to 3 months to start anything else, my first request to my father was that please take me to some trader. I want to actually go and see and feel that how does the trading happens. So actual trading on the live systems, right?
Right.
And luckily my father had a sub broker who was a friend, and he had a big setup. So and he gave me some play money. So he told me, okay, you have 10,000 rupees, go and play in the market, and this whenever you exhaust the 10,000 rupees, come back. So I had 3 months, right? And 10,000, only 10,000 rupees.
That's what a lot of apps do nowadays.
Yeah.
They just give you some free balance to get used to trading.
Yeah. So my father was
quite
very
visionary,
intelligent,
ahead
right?
of
So
his time.
he knew that he also wanted me to come back, because obviously I should not get much overexposed to the market. But at the same time, he also wanted me to gain actual exposure. So he gave me that money. I went there. I stayed there I was able to stay for 1 month with the 10,000 rupees because I was very cautious. I was not investing myself. I was seeing people investing in all. So that is how my interest developed. And again, the field that I chose, again, after becoming CA, generally all of these fields like valuation or investment banking are only available in Big Four. So Big Four will only take you if you're a chartered accountant. Otherwise, you need an MBA degree to get into any private equity fund and all.
Right.
So that is how I aimed for that, and I got it. So working with Big Four was a very pleasurable experience, very good experience. I learned a lot. I learned the system, the processes, how to deal with the clients, that confidence of doing things from scratch and doing things and then presenting them to the client directly. All of that exposure I gained with Ernst & Young. So I worked for Ernst & Young for about 2 years, from 2008 till 2010. And then I was with KPMG, again in the corporate finance field department, valuation and corporate finance, till 2013-14. Then I came out and started on my own. So again, Finvox, obviously happened by a lot of hard work. So after coming out, again, we wanted to maintain the same kind of you can say the look and feel of the outfit that we work for as we working for Big Four. So we wanted it to look like an MNC kind of a setup, multinational. Like if you see the name also, Finvox, it is a combination of finance and voice, but we had thought about it and then we chose, and then we wanted to place it like that because we wanted to have the same kind of a setup. So even if you come to our office is also like all will look like Big Four only. Right. The people that we employ or who are working with us are also happy. The work environment is same. The salaries are same or even better. The work exposure is better. So all of that. So that is how we were inspired to get into this kind of a setup and do it on our own. Yeah.
Just talk us more about how difficult it was to make that change, because a lot of people who are presently working at Big Fours or other firms, and that step of starting something new of your own, was it a difficult process for you to find the right partners and collaborators, and that step of leaving an established firm and starting ahead? So where did you find those guts?
See, Pradyuman, obviously it is a tough decision because when I left KPMG, I just got married about a year ago. I got married. So obviously it is a tough decision. But when you have a very strong desire from inside to do something in life and experiment on your own, I think the courage comes from within. So there is no requirement of somebody to motivate you or to give you any advice. And plus, obviously, I saw my father, he had his own practice, right? So in the family, a lot of relatives, like my uncles, were also, one of my uncles, chartered accountant, he was in practice. So I used to closely watch them, observe them. So that motivation came from there as well. That, okay, let me do something on my own. And when you talk about partners, again, it is a combination of luck and hard work. So you never know. So, right, you will always want to explore in life. You would want to meet new people. You would want to see what synergies are there, what potential association opportunities you can explore with them while in your professional journey. So some of the people it will click. With some you will not be able to match up, right? So it all depends. Again, it was like God's blessing. Got right people at the right time, and we have been moving along. It's been a great journey. So happy about that.
Right. So, Gandharv, you talked about the feel of Finvox is like a Big Four. Can you tell us more about your work that you do on a daily basis? What's your schedule look like? What kind of people that are working there? What sort of clients do you serve? So, sure. Something more about your firm.
See, Finvox is an international valuation and transaction advisory firm, and we have got two practices, offshore and onshore. Onshore, we serve large Indian clients, large corporate clients. Offshore, again, we have got tie-ups with valuation and other financial advisory firms outside India. We're majorly present in Singapore, US, and Middle East. And there we have a co-sourcing model where we, in partnership, we source work from outside India, and then we have set up a delivery center, which is our office in India, in Delhi, and from there we service the clients. So that is how the entire delivery model is, right? In terms of services that we give, we are primarily into valuation advisory services, due diligence, transaction advisory, project finance, helping our clients in raising money, in structuring deals, in negotiating transactions, in obviously advising them on the right transaction structures, whether they should get into a straight M&A deal or they can do a demerger, merger, or slump sale. All of these different modes of transactions are there available in the market. So we advise our clients on that. So we also help our clients in bidding for projects. If there's like kind of a coal mine bid, for example, so you have to do a financial modeling for that particular project. So we do that as well. We prepare investor presentations. So all of anything and everything related to corporate finance is what Finvox is all about. That's what we do.
Yeah. So one interesting bit is that there is a lot of overlap between what a lot of transactions-driven law firms do as their practice. At the same time, of course, while studying for chartered accountancy, you must be exposed to law. So how much of legal training were you able to have while you were studying for your chartered accountancy, and how much legal acumen or legal aspects of transactions you were able to pick up while practicing throughout your professional career? So how are you able to balance your training in finance and as well as the knowledge of law to practice?
See, again, finance and law go hand in hand, right? So I always believe that to advise a client, you must be thorough about the laws of the land, right? So while you are also doing CA, Chartered Accountancy course, you are taught about these different laws, For example, your contract law or securities contract act, right? Or partnership act.
Correct.
So, or like all of these different acts which are there, which help you in your professional journey when you are advising your clients. All of that is taught.
Right.
Specifically in the field that we are in, I told you transaction advisory. When we look at transaction advisory, there are different acts which you should be aware about. One is your Foreign Exchange Management Act. So whenever there's any transaction happening from a non-resident to a resident, there are different pricing mechanisms on what transaction can be priced at what number or at what. So it should be higher than fair market value or lower than fair market value. All of those things are prescribed under the master circulars and the act that RBI publishes. So that is one law that you need to be aware about. Second is your Companies Act, because the Companies Act also is going into a lot of transformation. So there was Companies Act 1956, then 2013 came in, then in 2013 also there's a lot of amendment that is going on. So that is something that you should be aware about. Then your third is your financial reporting, basically accounting standards, right? So they are also a kind of law only, because there are rules which are there which you need to know and how to report that into your financial statements. Third is when you're dealing with listed companies, your SEBI comes into play, right? So there are SEBI master circulars and all of that. So you have to be aware about that as well. And then if you're dealing in a specific industry, like for example, real estate. So there's now RERA, which is Real Estate Regulatory Authority, RERA Act. So you need to be aware about RERA Act also. Right. So all of these things are very important. And obviously there's a lot of importance of law in the daily routine work that we do.
Right.
So even in our office, we obviously advise all our employees and people who are working with us to be thorough with these laws and understand what are the implications. Income Tax Act, for example, is one act where the requirement for valuation comes out.
Correct.
Right. So if the first question of any client who we deal with is that they want to understand what will be the tax implication of any transaction. So as a finance professional, you have to be aware about all of these different gamut of acts which are there to be able to do your profession more accurately. Yeah.
Now, I just want to flip this question the other way around. So, for example, a law student who's studying. Yeah. So, of course, you would be familiar with these acts. And let's say if someone, let's say a student is interning under a law firm where he's doing a transactions practice. How much knowledge of finance to that person is important? Because as we address the question, how much law is important for a finance professional, how much do you think that a law student should be aware about the financial aspects and the numbers and the valuation?
So this is a very interesting question. See, as a law student, I think that obviously primary for any law student is to be thorough with the acts, right? So they should know from where what should apply.
The laws, the rules, the regulations,
right?
Master circulars, guidelines, everything.
Correct. Yeah. In terms of finance, I think if they are aware about generally how things happen out there, like for example, if they are aware about how what happens, so how would a check bounce look like in a bank statement?
Correct.
Just giving you an example, right?
Right.
So if you are a lawyer and you are a civil lawyer and you are dealing with check bounce cases, right? So you may know that how the Negotiable Instrument Act works.
Section 138 works.
138 works and what are the implications. But practically, how the check bounce looks like in a bank. So what will be the debit entry, what will be the credit entry in a bank statement.
Correct.
You should be aware about that as well, because that's your practice area. Right. Tomorrow, if in a court of law, somebody wants you to explain how the check bounce happened, on what date it happened, and how many times the check bounced. So you should be aware that how exactly practically it happened. So this is one example, right?
Right.
So wherever any finance area is involved in your daily routine, in your practice, you should try and understand that as a law student, because that's important.
Correct.
Right? Plus in today's market, if you're earning money, I'm a lawyer, I will earn money.
Right.
I have to invest my money, right? I cannot leave it to anybody else, third party. You should at least generally be aware about how are equity markets performing, what is the debt FD rate today, where would you get better FD rates, whether it will be in the bank or it will be in any NBFC or is your money safe in mutual funds.
Yeah.
So this basic information what should be aware about. So even I advise people who work with me or even my family members that as a person who is involved in advising people or in this macroeconomic situation in India, you should at least read Economic Times, or you should at least listen to the finance news once in a day.
Correct.
You should be aware about how financially India is growing, why the interest rates are rising, right? So all of these things, you should, at least basic things, you should be aware about.
Right. So let us dig deeper on this.
Yeah.
For example, performing due diligence. So there are different types of due diligence. One is performing, for example, real estate. How much value does the financial due diligence has? And again, my supplementary question to that would be, how would a lawyer or a law student need to pick it from it? So how much information or how much knowledge of finance is important when a person is doing due diligence for any particular transaction?
See, I'll give you an example again. So this insolvency and bankruptcy code has come in, right?
Correct.
Here, a lawyer can become an insolvency professional, right? There's no restriction that insolvency professional has to be a chartered accountant or it has to be, right? So there is an exam, you can qualify that exam and become an insolvency professional. And I think it's a very good field for lawyers, right? Because they understand each and every law. So to run a company, if somebody understands the law, it is very good. Right. So, but once you become an insolvency professional, you should also be aware about the financial aspects of the business, right? So that is how due diligence also works. That when you are doing due diligence, it's not only about accounting. So one is obviously pure play accounting diligence, which obviously I think law student may not be able to do or may not be able to cover that much because accounting as a field is a specialized domain.
But at least they should be equipped to look at those.
But other than that, I think the law student, if they are habitual of at least reading the financial statements, the basic financial statements they can take out from any listed company's website. You find financial statements. Just read the financial statements, and that is enough. So that will give you a good idea of what exactly company is about, and there are disclosures. Where
mandatory disclosures
which give you details about different line items of a balance sheet of a company.
Okay.
So even if you are able to read and provide your view on that, that is enough. I don't think there's much more that is required apart from that.
Right. Okay. Now, let's take our conversation forward to teaching and learning. What motivates you to interact with young professionals, and you have become part of advanced corporate law course, the Upskill Diploma conducted by the EBC and CII. So what are your motivations of training, teaching and learning and interacting with younger generation?
I would say a fun activity for me, right? Because you were so engrossed in your daily routine work, in the way that you were dealing with your clients, with your juniors, that you don't find time to unwind, right? So teaching for me, when I started about 5-6 years back. I'm doing a lot of lectures with ICAI. I'm a faculty there. Obviously, we have done 3-4 courses with EBC. We are also presenting in various MBA colleges and forums. We just did like in Bennett University also, again with EBC. So there are two things which I get from teaching. One is that obviously it gives you time to read the literature which was not read if you're busy in your daily routine work. Right. So it makes you more perfect because the knowledge that you gain from reading the literature will, obviously practical exposure is important, but you have to also understand the nuances of the provisions that are there, and you will never find time to read them if you are only doing your practical work.
Correct.
So one is that. Second is that when you go out and you try and interact with people, sometimes you come up with fresh ideas. People ask you certain things which you may not be knowing or which you may not imagine also, right? And plus, in our kind of profession, it is all the more about networking also. Right. So generally, where we are teaching is all professional network. Obviously, young generation is one section of it. But as I told you that we are faculty in the courses where professionals are coming. Like I'm doing CPRs for ICARVO. So all registered valuers come and listen to us.
Right.
So it's a very good opportunity of networking also.
True.
Right. So these are all certain things which motivates me to continue in this learning path.
Right.
So it is like both ways. When you have to teach somebody, for that you have to first get equipped to teach somebody, right? So you have to learn yourself, and then only you can make somebody learn. So I think that's the best part of it.
Yeah. How important it is for people to upskill themselves?
See, it's a journey again. So when you are going in your professional journey, if you will not upskill yourself, if you will not upgrade your basics, you will not be able to deal with the problems that will come to you in your daily routine, because problems will change as per the situations that will change, right? And to provide solutions, you also have to upskill yourself. You cannot provide the same solution that you have been providing for last 10 years, 15 years. They will be outdated. Laws change. Like for example, I was talking to you about transaction structures. What is happening is that every year budget comes in and they try to plug one or two loopholes that are there in the laws, right? So your advice will have to change accordingly. So if you're not upskilling yourself, if you're not doing these different courses, like advanced corporate law is one of the courses which people should look at, because you are getting the whole spectrum of different areas, right? You will also get to know law, you will also get to know accounts, you will also get to know transactions, you will also get to know valuations, right? So obviously it is very important as a professional or as a student who's aiming to become a good professional, to keep learning the new concepts which are coming, or the new things which are coming out in the process of becoming a good professional.
Yeah. Just a couple of more questions and we'll let you go.
Yeah.
So can you underline your involvement and highlight your role in the Advanced Corporate Law program, the Upskill Diploma program, on the deal process and valuations? How do you structure your pedagogies and prepare for your class, and why students should come and join?
See, again, as you know that, so first of all, I like EBC as a platform. There have been a lot of courses that EBC has come out with, and they are trying to upskill people. And obviously in this era, there are a lot of options available with people. So this is one of the good courses designed by EBC. In terms of deal process, again, as I told you, that my interest area always lies in transactions, right? So I am very excited when people ask me any questions which are related to transaction process. How does the transaction happens? What is the transaction timeline, life cycle? Like for example, when you start a transaction, obviously you have to do some bit of negotiations, then sign a term sheet, then do due diligence, then sign definitive agreements. So this is all part of deal process, right? So as it is one of the very keen, I am very keen on handling transactions. I like to discuss about the deal process with the people in the classes that we do with the ACL.
True. Right. At the same time, you must be also getting a lot of interns, not necessarily law interns, but in the financial sector. What are your expectations from your interns when they are working at your office? Is there a guideline or some sort of instructions? How do you think that people who are interning at your place maximize from that opportunity and exploit your resources and learn from you?
So see, so we get both law interns for small periods, like 3 months, 4 months, because there are breaks in between.
True.
We get MBA interns, again short-term interns. And we also have long-term interns, like in CA course,
mandatory.
Mandatory. So basically anybody who has to become a CA has to undergo 3 years articleship under a chartered accountant. True. So we have got many interns who are working in our office. The expectation is always not that they will give you a perfect work, but the expectation is that they should have that learning streak. They should inside themselves, they should be aware that tomorrow they have to become a hardcore professional, and if somebody wants to get into consulting. So 2-3 things which we would like people to have, and I think most of them have it. One is seriousness. about what they are doing. Second is diligently doing work, not being casual about what you are doing. And third is application of mind, right? So if you are doing anything, you may not know it, but it's always on the job learning which helps you, practical learning which helps you. So I think these 2-3 traits, if somebody has, I think that's what is required. And then over a period of time, we have seen people progressing a lot. Like when they come and join us, they're very raw. They don't even know how to. Some of them even don't know how to operate a laptop. Let me tell you. So obviously, it's a young generation. There's a lot of social media now and all of that. But to operate laptop means how to run programs like Microsoft Excel or Microsoft Word or Microsoft PowerPoint. So they learn all of that when they come and work with us, right? But it's a good atmosphere. Like you have a lot of young energy, positive energy coming in from these interns. They want to learn. They keep you pushing on your toes. They will call you a number of times in a day, remind you about what you have to do. So it's a very, very good environment. I like working with interns.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's excellent. So at the end of our conversation, is there anything that we have missed you to ask, or you think is an important parting advice to people who are watching this interview? Any piece of advice or anything that you would like to answer, which I may have ignored to ask you?
No. I think, Pradyuman, thanks for providing this platform and opportunity to come here and have this interaction with you. It was very, very good interaction. And the only thing, obviously, which I would want to tell people is that keep doing what you like to do in your life. Whatever motivates you, what keeps you on your toes, just try and achieve that. And put all your energies in achieving your goals in your life. And obviously, keep learning and keep motivating people. I think that's the best part. That's how we all can contribute back to the society. That's the best way.
Thank you, Gandharv, for taking so much of time
Thanks.
and having this interaction with us. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Happy
Pradyuman.
learning.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.